Before we begin, imagine holding absolute power over the known world. Imagine knowing that your words can start wars, end bloodlines, and rewrite history itself. Now imagine choosing silence instead. No speeches, no celebrations, just distance, stone walls, and an island far from judgment. When a ruler disappears like that, stories rush in to fill the silence. And in the case of Tiberius, those stories were darker than most. Tiberius, Rome's second emperor, was one of the most powerful men to ever live. He was unimaginably wealthy, politically untouchable, and feared even by the Roman Senate, an institution that rarely missed an opportunity to undermine imperial authority. And yet, despite ruling the greatest empire on earth, Tiberius chose isolation. He withdrew from Rome, abandoned public life, and spent the last decade of his reign hidden from view. Almost no one saw him. Almost no one heard from him. But everyone talked about him. Behind closed doors, rumors grew teeth. Tales of excess, cruelty, secrecy, and forbidden pleasures spread across Rome and far beyond. These stories were recorded by Roman historians who, it must be said, deeply disliked Tiberius. Many of them had personal or political reasons to paint him as a monster. Some details were likely exaggerated. Others may have been entirely invented. But once written down, these stories became history, and the reasons they were written still matter today. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are exploring the most shocking private practices attributed to Tiberius, one of Rome's most powerful and most secretive emperors, and the dark legends surrounding his isolated retreat known as Villa Jovis. Around the year 27 AD, Tiberius made a decision that stunned Rome. He withdrew from public life and purchased the island of Capri just off the coast of Italy. There, he constructed a vast estate known as Villa Jovis. As was typical of Roman emperors, the villa carried his name. To Tiberius, it was only fitting. Villa Jovis was not merely a vacation home. It was a fortress palace perched high atop a mountain overlooking the sea. From its elevated position, one could see ships long before they reached the island. The estate was enormous, complete with gardens, fountains, vineyards, private chariot grounds, and even a zoo. It had its own harbor and was designed to be entirely self-sufficient. But there was a reason this place felt cut off from the world. Reaching Villa Jovis was incredibly difficult. The journey involved a long and dangerous road that took 2 full days to travel. Steep cliffs, narrow paths, and constant exposure to the elements made quick access impossible. But that was exactly the point. Tiberius did not want visitors. The villa was surrounded by thick stone walls, heavy gates, and a drawbridge that could be raised to block entry entirely. Guards controlled every approach. Messengers were screened. Guests were rare. From the outside, it seemed as though the emperor had vanished. But while Tiberius succeeded in hiding himself, he failed to silence speculation. In fact, his absence only made the rumors worse. One of the most infamous accounts comes from the Roman historian Suetonius. He describes a private staircase inside Villa Jovis that led directly from Tiberius's bedroom to the roof of the palace. The purpose of this staircase was never officially explained. Suetonius, however, made sure readers understood that its existence was suspicious. Why would an emperor need a hidden route to the roof of his own palace unless he was engaging in activities that demanded secrecy? Suetonius does not provide direct evidence. He does not need to. The implication alone was enough to ignite centuries of speculation. Another story from the same source claims that Tiberius hosted chariot races within the courtyard of the palace itself. These were not grand public spectacles but private entertainments, allegedly driven by pairs of male lovers. According to the account, when one of the chariots crashed, Tiberius mocked the driver by shouting that he was too fond of wine and women. The remark, cutting and cruel, fits neatly into the image Suetonius wanted to construct. But this raises an important question: how much of this actually happened? The truth is, we don't know. What we do know is that Tiberius spent the final 10 years of his life almost entirely at Villa Jovis. We also know he had the resources, authority, and isolation necessary to indulge in whatever pleasures he desired. But Roman historians had a long tradition of attacking unpopular rulers through moral scandal. For them, sexual excess and cruelty were political weapons. And yet the stories only grow darker. One particularly disturbing rumor claims that Tiberius ordered tunnels dug beneath the sea near his pleasure boat. According to legend, these tunnels were connected to hidden mechanisms designed to sink ships that entered restricted waters. Any vessel that strayed too close would simply vanish into the depths. There is no archaeological evidence to support this claim. It sounds more like myth than reality. But the fact that such a story was believed tells us something important about how people viewed Tiberius. He was seen as secretive, dangerous, and capable of anything. What is better documented is Tiberius's love of luxury at sea. He owned an extravagant pleasure boat and spent long periods aboard it. There, he hosted lavish parties filled with exotic food, expensive wine, and prostitutes of every description. Roman sources claim that he enjoyed shocking his guests by arranging the guest list according to bizarre criteria. One night, only bald men were invited. Another night, only short men. Another, only fat men. Imagine receiving an invitation from the Emperor of Rome, only to discover you were invited not for your loyalty or status, but because you fit a physical category. Despite the indulgence, hosting parties at sea came with problems. The boat could only hold so many people. The journey to Capri was long and unpleasant, and piracy was a constant threat. To counter this, Tiberius kept his ship under heavy guard at all times. Chains were installed on deck so that guests could tie up their slaves, preventing escape while the ship was docked. But even with guests present, it seems Tiberius preferred solitude. More than parties, more than spectacle, he loved the sea itself. Fishing was one of his greatest passions, not as a casual pastime but as an obsession. He enjoyed both rod fishing and net fishing, often spending hours on the water. One extreme story claims that Tiberius ordered a massive net cast across the Bay of Naples, trapping hundreds of merchant ships and sinking them along with their crews. This account comes from Tacitus, a historian who despised Tiberius and made little effort to hide his bias. Modern historians consider the story almost certainly exaggerated, but once again, it reflects how Romans imagined the emperor, ruthless, indifferent to human life, and drunk on power. Tiberius's love of fishing allegedly went even further. According to legend, he once decided to hunt underwater. He supposedly wore a diving suit made of lead, topped with a bronze helmet fitted with a viewing window. Armed with a trident, he descended beneath the surface to spear fish directly. While this sounds absurd, similar diving equipment did exist in the ancient world. The major flaw in the story is obvious: breathing. Still, the image of an aging emperor risking his life for sport only added to his myth. But perhaps the most unsettling rumors surrounding Tiberius involve not his pleasures, but his marriage. He married a woman named Livia, a figure already surrounded by suspicion. She had previously been married 4 times, and all 4 husbands had died. By the time she married Tiberius, she was 24 years older than him. This marriage came after the deaths of Tiberius's wife and both of his sons, leaving him without an heir. To the Roman public, it looked ominous. Whispers spread that Livia was a black widow, that she brought death with her. These rumors only intensified when Tiberius himself died just 6 years after their marriage. Some claimed Livia had poisoned him to seize power. Others believed these stories were later inventions, spread by political rivals or even by Tiberius's successor. And that successor was Caligula. When Tiberius died, Rome did not mourn him. Instead, it exhaled. After years of silence, secrecy, and rumors, the empire was finally free from a ruler few had ever truly known. Power passed to his adopted grandson, Caligula, a young man who initially appeared to be everything Tiberius was not: visible, energetic, and eager to please the public. But appearances were deceiving. Caligula's reign quickly descended into chaos, and with it came a renewed effort to explain how Rome had ended up here. Once again, history searched for a villain, and once again, that villain was connected to Tiberius. Many of the darkest stories surrounding Caligula were quietly redirected toward the women in his family, especially his mother and sisters. One legend claimed that Caligula's beloved sister, Drusilla, was so beautiful that the gods themselves grew jealous and killed her while she bathed in milk. It was a dramatic, humiliating story meant to stain the family's image rather than record reality. In truth, Drusilla almost certainly died of illness, but truth mattered less than narrative. The same pattern followed Tiberius's wife, Livia. After his death, rumors intensified that she had poisoned him to secure power. Some believed these stories were spread deliberately by Caligula to distance himself from blame and redirect public anger. Others argue they were written later by historians who needed simple explanations for complex political transitions. And this is where the mystery of Tiberius truly ends, not with certainty, but with doubt. Was he a monster hiding on an island, indulging in excess and cruelty beyond imagination? Or was he a deeply private, deeply paranoid ruler destroyed by propaganda written by enemies who survived him? Roman history was rarely fair to unpopular emperors, and moral scandal was the sharpest weapon of all. What remains undeniable is this: Tiberius chose isolation over spectacle. He removed himself from public life, and in doing so, surrendered control of his image. Into that silence rushed whispers, legends, and accusations that shaped how he would be remembered forever. History does not always record what happened. Sometimes, it records what people wanted others to believe. So when we speak of Tiberius, of Villa Jovis, of secret staircases, of forbidden pleasures, we must ask ourselves one final question. Are we hearing the truth of a man or the echo of his enemies? That question, like Tiberius himself, remains unanswered.